So, before we start, I just want to kind of want to give a background as how I got to do this message and how this message came to be. So, originally I was supposed to do last week. What is it? We were why God doesn't care how we live, and but some things happened, so we had to switch, and I got stuck with not stuck, but I got assigned with this topic, and really just like when I started to start my message on this topic, I actually found out that because for this series we have a little guideline to just base our message off of. This topic had no guideline. It was just discussion questions. It was supposed to be a discussion day, but I was I feel like I need to make a message out of this topic. So I'm sorry if this is a little more intense than what our normal messages are, but it's just I really feel like this is something that needs to be said, because I know this is a topic that we like to hold back in our youth group and stuff. So, all right. So just yeah. So last week we started with last week. What was our last statement? Last week's statement false statement. God cares about how I live, or we were meant to live our lives with God. All right, so that was a statement we learned last week, that we're meant to live our lives with God. We have to be able to, in order to live a Christian life outside on the outside, we have to be able to clean ourselves on the inside, and the rest will come to fruition. So our false statement for this week is God doesn't care about my dating life, or I will date how I want to date. Am I blocking this? Okay. So, before we start, obviously, so this week is about dating. Just background, I guess it's perfect, I guess, that I was chosen for this topic because I'm in a relationship. Not to throw it out there, but that's something I feel there's a reason that I was put for this topic. So there we go. The definition of a relationship. The way by which two or more concepts, objects, or people are connected. Because I always have to have a definition in my message. All right. So that's what a relationship is. But one question that we have to ask is, where in our relationship does God fit? Yeah. And nowadays, you see relationships nowadays. It's really casual. It's really in today in society. We stray away from how we should live as people of God, as Christians. There's more sin, there's a lot more temptation, there's more violence, there's more negativity, there's just a lot of negative energy around this world. And along with all that negativity, we have a lot more there's a lot more opportunities for us to take part in that. And at one point or another, at some point, all of us are gonna have to give in to that temptation, not because we want to, but because we just can't resist it. But as soon as we give in to that temptation, what's our first instinct? Whenever we do something bad, whenever we do something we aren't proud of, what's our first reaction to what we do? Hide it, right? Hide it. So that's what I want to talk about today. When we do something wrong, when we do something sinful, we like to hide it, and and I know that we like to take part in all this, and or not but we have the tendency to take part in all of this sin, all of this badness, and that's totally okay. But when our first instinct is to hide it, is when it goes bad. That's when it starts to get worse. When we try to hide things from God, when we try to keep Him out of that part of our lives that we're too ashamed, that we're too scared to show to Him, that's when things start to get worse. I remember last week Celeste had a demonstration where she cleaned a cup with maple syrup inside it, but then the symbolism there is if you just leave it there, it's gonna get worse. if you don't clean it, it's just gonna fester. It's just gonna become worse, right? But that's what happens when we start to keep God out of that part of our lives. When we continue on with it, yeah. If we keep hiding, yeah, we're gonna feel guilty here and there. We're gonna feel guilty after we do it. But if we just keep rejecting Him from that part of our lives, it's only gonna get worse. Yeah. So I have a clip that I would kind of want to show. So if we could play that, I put it on there already. Is it audio? It's not what I was going for. Alright, so like SpongeBob is on like the brink of death, right? Like he's on death row. He's about to like dry out. And he has no water yet, he's dehydrated. I don't know, does that kind of sponge need water to live? He's like a kitchen sponge, right? But it doesn't matter. No, he's like right? I don't know. But the point is, like, he doesn't want to bother Sandy about like his hydration problem. Right? He doesn't want to be like, go out of his way, have Sandy go out of her way to be like, yo, can you like open this dome so I can have some water? But like, that's like exactly what we do. We don't want to bother God. We don't want to like, oops. We don't want to bother God. We don't want to be like a nuisance to Him. And also like, we're scared that like if we ask Him, He's gonna be like, okay, well, I thought I already took care of this. And I'm not entirely sure what happens after that scene. I don't remember that episode very well. But like I'm like 90% sure Sandy helped him out afterward, right? Right? And like if he just told her, I'm pretty sure like 90% she probably would have helped him. And like it's exactly the same with God, except it's 100% of the time. Yeah. Right? Like when we when we lift up our problems to God, when we lift our struggles, when we lift our like emotions to Him, He's gonna solve it 100% of the time. And now you guys might be asking, what does this have to do with dating, Jordan? There we go. All right. So I have an answer. Okay. So like even when we think we don't have problems with our dating life or our relationships, when two imperfect people are put together, something bad or something wrong is about to happen eventually. So. When that happens, when we put God first in our relationships, He's going to be able to solve that. He's going to be able to guide us through it because He has all our answers. He's going to guide us and take care of our relationships. In 2 Thessalonians 3:3, is that how you read it? Yeah. But the Lord is faithful and He will strengthen you and protect you from the evil one. When we lift up our troubles and our worries to God is when my imperfectness and your imperfectness it ceases to matter. Yeah. It doesn't matter anymore. When we put God first in our relationship is when everything is going to be taken care of. It's when everything is going to be enhanced. That's when everything is going to be just better. It's just going to be better in general. But that can only happen when we put God in the center of our relationship. And so this part of the message I just want to like warn. I felt I was conflicted as to whether I should put this in or not, but I feel like, because I know we have some like younger people here, but I feel like it's just something that needs to be heard just because it's something that we like to just keep in the background. Okay. And it's really personal to me, so I felt like I just had to do this for me and for all of you. All right. So, as like I said, we live in a society where this is like there's a lot more temptation. There's a lot more just opportunities to indulge in like sinful actions, just bad things. And one stereotype and misconception that our society gives us today is that in order to be like successful in a relationship, in order to be cool, or in order to act like to be cool in front of your friends, one misconception is that in a relationship we have to lose our purity early. Yeah. And when I say purity, I mean a number of ways, but people in general, sometimes we have the need to do things when it comes to our relationships, and sometimes there could be a number of reasons. We can do it for our image, we can do it out of contempt, or we could just do it for like self-affirmation. Yeah. And I feel like this is a big topic. It's a intense topic, so I just had to give that warning again. But a lot of people in this society today, they like to lose their purity before marriage. People like to engage in other relationships with a lot of other people, and a lot of people like to just straight out lie to their significant other. And I'm gonna just discuss one of these issues for right now. But I'm not sure. Before I started this message, I wasn't really sure why we ever saved our purity for marriage. So before I had to come up here and speak to you guys, I had to look it up. And basically, just to start out this explanation, everything that God creates, there's a purpose, there's a design for everything that God creates. Yeah. Just to start off with us as humans, us as people, us as His children, we have a purpose, we have a design, and what that design is, whatever He has planned for us, that's good. Yeah. It's going to be good no matter what. And we could just go next slide. I think 1 Corinthians 10:23. Thank you to Daryl for these supporting verses, by the way. I have the right to do anything, you say, but sorry, I'm having mic problems. All right, but not everything is beneficial. I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. So, like what Daryl helped me see here, and what I'm trying to emphasize here is that there's a whole range of things in this world that God's given us an opportunity to do. He's given us the free will to do virtually anything. Yeah. And the design in one way, He has a design in one way or another for those things to be good. But another thing, when it comes to actions that we see as lustful, when it comes to actions that we see as like scandalous, devious, I guess, but mostly lustful, those actions that has a design, that has a purpose to be good. Yeah. And when that design is for when two people become committed to each other under the name of God. Yeah. And again, the verse says right here, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is constructive. A lot of people like to, just because there's worldly temptations to take part in these lustful actions. And when we do that, first, it's a gift from God, right? It's a gift from God that we have the ability to do this. When we have the ability to do this, the design for this is for when two people are committed to each other under the name of God. That is the way. So when the purpose for these lustful actions, when we commit to each other, that's like the highest honor of love you can have, right? That's the highest honor of love you can have. And this gift from God, these actions, that's His gift to us to be able to increase that connection further. Yeah. So when we take these actions out of design, out of His purpose, that's when it starts to become destructive. Yeah. Right? I'm not like calling anybody out. Like I'm not like implying, but like when people take this gift and out of its design, out of its context, that's stealing God's gift. Yeah. That's stealing His gift, His purpose for us, and that only gives us physical risk and mental what's the word? Discombobulation. But like just if I want to elaborate further, a common thing in like a stereotype in relationships is after the fact. You know how, not to be offensive, but there's always the stereotypical like, why isn't he calling me back? Right? I mean, like, that's like the best way I could put it. Like, if you take it out of its context, when you take it out of its purpose, you're still gonna get, you're gonna trigger like unwanted results. Yeah. So we have to be able to resist that temptation. And when we're able to resist these temptations, when we're able to obey God and take His gift when it's meant to be taken, when we're able to put Him first, or when we're able to prioritize Him over our wants, over our desires, that's when your relationship with your significant other is going to become stronger. That's when your relationship with God is going to become stronger. Yeah. And I mean, this isn't to say, because I believe that you all are pure. But if for some reason, for some chance that you aren't pure, can we just go to the next slide? 1 Peter 5:10, and all the God of grace who calls you to His eternal glory in Christ, after you've suffered a little while, will Himself restore you and make you strong, firm, and steadfast. Even if you guys have already, if it's already happened, even if you guys have already lost your purity, it's not going to affect the amount of love God's going to have for you. He's going to restore you. He's going to be able to take you and say, I still have use for you. I still have love for you. Yes. Even if it's happened already, it's not going to matter to God. Yeah. That's good, brother. He's going to be there for you. He's going to restore you. He's going to bring you back. He's going to clean you up. He's going to have use for you. He's going to have love for you. Amen. After the fact, it doesn't matter. Amen. And believe me, 5 years of being in a relationship, you definitely experience some pressure and some temptation, and it's so hard. But when you're able to put God in front of that relationship, then everything just becomes better. Everything is the way it's meant to be. Okay, so that's it for a little Christian ed talk. But all right. So today it's common for people to engage in like a lot of relationships. Sometimes it's for fun, sometimes it's for competition, or sometimes maybe you're just actually conflicted about your feelings for one person and another person. But when it comes down to it, there's a lot of cheating in this world. There's a lot of dishonesty in this world that we live in. And when we come to face these problems, when we're struggling with our emotions, when we're struggling with what's the right thing to do, we tend to turn to a loved one, a close friend, or even just keep it into ourselves. And I'm definitely guilty of that. And when we keep it to ourselves, or when we bring it, it's only going to come into our relationship in a negative way. Sometimes we miss the purpose of ever dating somebody ever, and that purpose is to get married. We miss that purpose a lot, and I feel like when we keep God out of our struggles in our relationship, it's only going to make it worse. It's only going to make you bitter. It's only going to make you numb to the pain that you're feeling. And as just a testimony, I've definitely felt that. I've kept it to myself. I've restricted myself to like one person, and it hurts. It hurts when you don't bring God into it. You feel like you don't know what to do. You feel like you just don't want to do anything. It's just, but when you bring God into that relationship, it just helps. Yeah. And when we keep God out of it, when we decide to just keep it to ourselves, when we decide to just go follow our worldly desires, our intentions, they become blurred. And when our intentions become blurred, we're gonna go off course for what God has for us, for what God wants for us. Yeah. And when we keep it like that, our problems are only gonna grow. When we refuse to ask for our water, when we refuse to ask for His help and guidance, we're gonna dry out. We're gonna dry out. We're just gonna give up. But when we do this, when we keep Him out of our lives, we drain ourselves of the thing that we need most, and that's love. Yeah. And why is this so important? We'll go next slide, please. Because God is love. Amen. Amen. Jesus is love. We can't love. Sorry, I thought I pressed the button again. We can't love our partner or our friend without knowing the love of God. That's right. You know that. So this is what I'm kind of a bad joke that I put in here. But like you know, like in those TV shows where like the nerd always gets the girl, like he's dancing with the girl of his dreams, and then his dad's there, and her dad's like for some reason there, and she's like, leave room for Jesus in the middle, you know. So it's kind of like that. Like you have to be able to leave room for Jesus in the middle of your relationship. You have to be able to leave room for God in the center of your relationship. We can't commit to a relationship with another person unless we commit to God first and we put Him in the center of it. That's right. Unless when we put God in the center of it, He's going to bring us everything we want. He's going to bring us our lover. He's going to bring us our soulmate. He's going to bring us the people that we need in our life. Yeah. And even people that aren't in relationships or aren't really looking for relationships, even when we put God in the center of everything we do, He's going to be able to bring us that person that we need. And I know, like, people outside of people that aren't Christian, they'll be like, I know that I for sure love my mom, and I love my dad, and I love my girl or my guy. And I don't believe in Jesus, but the thing is that they do. For them to be able to love someone is for them to be able to either know or at least experience God and His love. Next slide, please. Yes, we love first because He first loved us. 1 John 4:19. All right, next slide. I think it's 1 Corinthians 10:13. Yeah. No temptation has overtaken you except what is common to mankind, and God is faithful. He will not let you be tempted beyond what you can bear, but when you are tempted, He will also provide a way out so that you can endure it. So what I'm trying to get across with this verse is God is never going to give us a temptation, a desire that we can't overcome. Yeah. He doesn't want us to become overwhelmed. He doesn't want us to become defeated. He wants us to become closer to Him, because we either stood our ground and stood for Him, or because He helped us through it. Yeah. Even when we can't handle these temptations or demons, when we lift our burdens up to God, He's going to be able to take care of them because of His unconditional love for us. Amen. And even with people who stay pure, even with those people who are able to stay pure and good in those relationships, who's able to put God in, or who's able to just stay pure. All of us, I think, have a tendency to keep God out of that relationship anyway. In a society, God becomes an afterthought. When He brings us our significant other, we thank Him for bringing him or her to us, and then we just cast Him out. And I've definitely been guilty of this in the beginning of my relationship, in the middle of my relationship, and even now. And when we keep Him out of this relationship, it only turns for the worst. When you have a fight, when you have an argument with your significant other, when you have no one to turn to, when you're stuck in that state of rage, when you're stuck in that state of confusion, confliction, just emptiness, we keep forgetting that God is going to meet us. He's going to meet us, not even meet us, He's going to go to us, He's going to shower us with love, compassion, and understanding. When we can't put what we're feeling into words, God's gonna know exactly what we're feeling. He's gonna know the emotions that we're feeling towards our relationship. He's gonna know the pain that we're feeling. Jesus is gonna come to you. He's He's going to say, I know your pain because I've felt every pain that there is to feel on that cross. I've felt betrayal. I've felt loneliness. He's felt it all. He's felt that pain. And whatever pain you're feeling with, when you put Jesus in there, he's going to be able to solve it for you. He's going to be able to, when you feel like you're disappointed, when you feel violated, when you feel empty, he's going to be able to say, you're my child, and I love you so much, and I know your pain, and I want to help you through it, but you just have to let me. And I know that some people here, they might not be, like I said, some people might not be in a relationship, but even in our friendships, our relationships with the people around us, there's always room for us to put God in the middle. Yeah. There's always room for us to pray for a friend or introduce him to God's love. Amen. And I just want to be clear, because when I was researching this, when I was putting this together, I was reading a lot of things about what the Bible says about dating, and a lot of it is like you should date someone that loves God, as a Christian. But right now, this isn't a message for me to discourage you guys to date only Christians, because I date someone that is not a Christian, and I've been with her for a very long time. So I can't, and I wouldn't want to come up here and tell you that you should stay in your faith. But if you do choose to date a person that doesn't know God, that doesn't believe in God, please do your best to just introduce them and to just put them in their life in some shape or form. Because when you're able to find a way to mix God into your relationship, he's gonna be able to just take the wheel, just give you what you want, give your other person, your significant other, what they want. He's gonna give you what you need and what's good for you. So please, date whoever you want, but please just remember to put God in the middle of it. When we make God the center of our relationship, when we make God the priority in our relation, make him first, everything becomes so much better. You feel lifted. Making him first makes it easier for us to love our friends, our significant others, because he is love, and putting him first, we can find happiness in our relationships. We can find what we're finally looking for. Without God, a relationship can turn quickly into a meaningless relationship. And the definition of a relationship, in the context that we are using it, is the way by which two people are connected. And that way that we are connected is through God, through the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Because they are love, that is what connects us to everybody that we know, everybody that we love. Everybody in this room is connected by love. Everybody in this room is connected by God. And to answer our question earlier, where does God fit in our relationship? Everywhere, for he is love. And instead of saying that God doesn't care about how I date, or God shouldn't be concerned with how I date, we should believe that God is the center of my dating life. And there's a lot of, I was thinking about, because I feel like I've been giving this message as I'm perfect when it comes to dating, but I just feel like I have to tell you guys that I've definitely faced temptation. I've definitely faced the pressure of being in a relationship, and it's really jarring. It's sad. It's really sad. You get caught in worldly desires, and then you just lose sight of what's supposed to be happening, and then after it's done, you just feel empty. And it's only recently that I've realized that I have to be able to put God in the center of my relationship, because everything that I've listed here, I've definitely faced as a temptation. I've faced it. I've said I don't know what to do. I don't know how to react to this. I don't know what I'm gonna do. And then there have been days where I'm just this like discourages me to just do anything at all. And it hurts. It like it crumbles you inside when you feel that emptiness, when you feel like what is there left to live for? What is there left to do in this relationship besides just give up? But like when you do this, and I'm sorry, like this is just really personal to me. But when you finally have the courage to put God in the center of that relationship, it's just the most beautiful thing.
Yeah, right.
Okay. I think I could go on for hours, but yeah. Again, before I have discussion, I have discussion. But before we do discussion, I just want to say, like, if you guys ever have, I know it's like weird for me to just like be putting this out there, but if you guys ever feel like you have like a relationship problem, or you feel like something's not going right, and that you think you need just like some guidance, I know it's like, but if you ever feel like you're struggling in like any kind of relationship, just know that like my door will be open. Like I'm not gonna judge you or anything. I'm just because I in some sort of capacity, I'm gonna know what you feel like. So if you just, before we do a discussion, I just want to put that out there. Like if you ever need someone to like listen to you or just like talk to you about your relationships, then I'll be there. Okay, so for discussion, yeah. So how can someone date as a follower of Jesus in a way that doesn't contradict their beliefs? What is some dating advice that you think applies to everyone? And what are some of the lies that the world tells us about dating? And what is the truth to dating?